How's it going? My name is Brent from ENCORE PPF and Tint, and today we are working on a Lotus. I'm sorry, this is not a Lotus. Oh my goodness, an Alfa Romeo. Okay. Hey, how's it going? My name is Brent from ENCORE PPF and Tint, and today we are working on an Alfa Romeo C4. This is a 2015. It's been a track car for most of its life, and now it's going to go to being a road car. So they removed a bunch of the paint protection film because it had numbers and things underneath it and sponsors and things like that. So they took the paint protection film off, and then now we're just going to put on some new paint protection film. I just wanted to show you what I do to hide this wire, as well as how to get this mirror off. And then I took off this top trim here, which is actually a piece of cake. You just grab on this edge and lift up and boop, it comes right off. So, and then this piece, I don't know what you do to get that off. I tried for quite a while to mess around with it. I would just leave it. All right, well, let me show you this because I have to hide that before we can get moving. So I basically just went in through this empty hole here. Zip tied around this wire. And then I tucked all of this in. All right, and the reason I did it like this is just to make sure that wire doesn't fall back down in there. Even if you take the door panel off, this is a fiberglass door, so the inside is all fiberglass and it's in one piece. So it's really gonna be hard to get to this wire. You might end up having to fish it out somehow like this, but if it drops down, it's gonna be really hard to get to. All right, so a couple things that I changed on this pattern is that I extended all the edges around. I'm pretty sure you're not gonna be able to get this to wrap here. This is gonna be really difficult when you open the door. There's really no way to get to this area. So this area I am gonna cut right down this edge. And then as far as this, we are still cutting around that, and then we are going up into this area where the window scraper goes. And then we're going to hang off all of the back and on the bottom, and we are gonna wrap around. You can't wrap around much, so it just is a tiny bit that wraps around, but we'll get to that later. I did leave the door handle cup cut out, or the, right here, cuts out around this door handle. This recess is way too much of a recess to get the material to stretch down into. That's impossible. Another adjustment that I made to the pattern is that it does have a relief cut that comes to all the way about here, and I eliminated that relief cut because I know that I can get this to recess in here, although it's not easy. And maybe I should have just let the relief cut, would have been much easier. And then there is a relief cut here as well, because obviously this film needs to stay up here and then here, and then there is a piece that goes in here, and we'll worry about that. I'll show you all that. And then another thing to kind of know here is that I did eliminate this whole hole here because it does have a seam that goes across, and that would be a decent option if you weren't willing to take the mirrors off. And to be honest, well, we'll go over that later. There's some clips that you end up breaking off when you take this off, the plastic cover. All 4 of them broke, so that's very disappointing, but this car is a 2015, so we would expect that plastic's brittle and things like that, but I don't know as far as like trying to get those little pieces as replacements, if you could even buy those separately. Although I'm probably gonna go ask the body shop next door to look into that, if they're even still available. All right, because we know that this door handle cup needs to line up really well, we're going to start here just to make sure that everything is angled correctly for this to line up right at the edges. And then I'm gonna go ahead and squeegee up to here. And we can take some of this out as well. Well, let's see. Let's actually not do that just yet. But we'll leave it like that. So this is pushed up to this relief cut here. And then let's go ahead and let this sit for a moment. And start to tack up a little bit here. And we'll come over to this front. As we know that this part needs to line up as well. Okay. All right, so I did extend this up into here, but this does line up really nicely. Let's go ahead and squeegee across this top part, and then we're going to take everything back towards the window. Okay. I'm basically going to work this top out first. So let's go ahead and do this whole body line. Okay, we're going to start working this up. Just make sure you get good even pressure on your squeegee. Let's work our way down into this recess first. And then we'll work our way up the other side and up into this where the window scraper would be. All right, I'm just going over it quite a few times, make sure I've got everything squeegeed out. And then let's get some of this down here just a little bit. More so it's about this area here, because if we do need to pull this back to get rid of any pre-tacking, it's going to get difficult because we're going to be tacked here and here, which makes this area hard to get to. Okay. Now let's pull this back, get this to lay down into place. So we want to make sure we don't put a lot of tension right here where this relief cut ends. And I'm throwing in just a little bit, you know, just a tiny bit of tack solution, because we do want that part to stay down. Because as we turn this, if we need to turn it at all or anything, these are the parts, the area that likes to pop up the most, and now we're going to be in good shape. Okay. So as you see, I've got my fingers all lined up along this squeegee here, so I'm getting some good pressure all the way across this squeegee. Oh, see, it already came up again. All right, well, let's not worry about that at the moment. Let's get the rest of this squeegeed out. And I'm just pushing because pulling would then take two hands like this, where I could just push it up and out. I'm putting decent pressure, you know, decent even pressure, but I'm not putting a whole bunch. Let's see if we can get rid of these little guys here. Yeah. So we're able to get rid of those fingers just by pulling back a little bit here. All right, and that's continuing to pop up a little bit. I don't know if you can see that well. Let's go ahead and and hit this area and then all of this here with some tack solution. And even this guy needs a little tack right here. Push that down, just hold it in place with my finger for a moment. And then we're going to work this part out here. And for this, I want something that's going to contour a little better. And so this corner will contour really well. All right, I'm going to hold my finger on that edge or on that very corner. All right, let's go ahead and we'll wrap some of this right now. I'm just gonna leave the rest of that hanging because let's just put it down, never mind. Since we're right here, let's just do it. Okay. That's all continuing to pop up, so I'm going to just go ahead and put a little tack in there. And we'll take some of this up and then some of it down. Okay, so now let's work away from this area a little bit more because I'm already getting some pre-tack in there, so I am going to need to lift this up in order to get rid of that. And we'll worry about that in a moment. Well, let's just do it right now. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of squeegee out the main air pockets out of this area. And so, let's see, how are we gonna do this one this time? Last time I just kind of pulled back like this, but then that, it likes to leave this finger here where it just wants to pinch over. And so I'm gonna try and eliminate that this time. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna pull down on this a little bit and go down to that recess. Oh, you weren't watching. And the GoPro turned off. Great. Okay. So I squeegeed right down into here with the tack solution. And then now what we're going to do is we need to get a little bit more slip back in here. And we're going to see what we can do like this. Basically, we just need this to lay flat and then we'll figure all this out. So that looks like it's going to lay down now that we stretched down this direction just a little. And then let's see if we can get this just to lay down even. Which it looks like that's going to do really well. And now what I want to do is get some slip up in there, since we just sprayed all that tack in there. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get this to squeegee out. Let's see, I've got a little, okay, there was a little air pocket here, but it just turned out just all it needs is some squeegeeing. Okay. All right, so I just basically squeegeed all that out, and now it's brought us all the little fingers and things and the rest of the air down here. Now, I'm gonna put a little tug on this, and that's to get rid of this finger here. So let's see, I'll show you. So just if we were to lay this down like this, we had a finger here, and you've got some lines right here. So I'm gonna put a little tug on this in order to flatten all this out, and we're gonna just come down into this recess and bring the stuff out over this edge. That should be far enough for now. All right, and then we're just gonna come down to this body line here, and then we're gonna take a little break and get some of the rest of this down. So that actually worked way better than yesterday. So I'm glad to see that I was able to improve on the technique there for getting into this recess. All right, so I'm gonna lift all this up, and actually this right here, let's see if we can get some of this down to this recess. Yeah, it's starting to pre-tack a little here, so let's get this up. And today, yeah, I want to make sure that I didn't get too much pre-tacking, especially when I was doing these, these difficult areas. So I went ahead and jumped up to 10 milliliters of soap per gallon. Okay, so now what we want to do is kind of get all this stretched into place so that we can take care of this whole area here. And what I'm going to do is we need this edge to line up real well. So I'm gonna go down to about this far onto the edge. I'm gonna give it a little tug, and you can see we need to come down just a little bit here to get rid of this finger. And then I'm gonna squeegee this out on that edge. All right, so all of this then now, we wanna go ahead and get all this air out. And I don't know if it was helpful or not, but on the other side, I did put some relief in here. I'm guessing this didn't make a bit of difference, but I did it on the other side, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so let's go ahead and work this part down. So this is the most difficult area because it has the sharpest recess. Okay, and then the rest of this we should be able to just bring it right down. And then this we can take those little air and moisture pockets we can take right out. Make sure you got this recess really squeegeed out all right in here. The rest of this is much easier to get laid down, but this part's a little tough. Okay, now let's go ahead. We've got a body line here. Let's go ahead and work our way down below that body line. Okay. Okay, this edge, again, we want to make sure and line up real well, because this front edge, I did not add any let's see, I did not extend this edge at all because there's no way to reach in here to wrap it, and I am hanging over a little bit right here, and I'm gonna have to come back and trim that off. All right, so we've got all that front lined up. Now let's go ahead and work our way towards the back here. After I get rid of some of this water on the ground. All right, got my Harbor Freight movers blanket on the ground here with me. And let's go ahead and squeegee some of this out. I'm going to pull it back first just to double check for any pre-tacking, which I don't think we'll have, but and we don't. Okay. And let's get rid of some of this finger going this way first. So we're gonna go ahead and put some tack here on this edge. I'm gonna just pull down a little bit here. I'm gonna put my fingers right on the very edge. So I'm not actually on the face of the door. And let's squeegee this part out a little bit. And then we'll take this out this way. And then this can go this direction. Okay, then we'll worry about that stuff in a minute. All right, so this part here, let's see what we can do. We're gonna pull this back a little bit and put some tack in here. And to get rid of this little tiny finger, which is almost nothing, you should probably just squeegee out. I'm just gonna put a tiny bit of tension on it and see how it lays down nice and flat then. Then we're going to squeegee this out. I'm gonna hold that there where it was trying to pop up. Basically that's like a swipe and hold, but I don't wanna push the door in any further. So I'm just gonna use my finger to hold that and get that tacked down. Okay, we're looking really good. All right, let's go ahead and squeegee the rest of this out. Get a little mist on there so the squeegee slides really well. So what you'll notice most of the time or majority of the time when I'm doing these type of installs is that I've already squeegeed this out, and so this has already started to cure, and then we had a little bit here that was already starting to cure, so I went ahead and came over this way, and then I started back over here and then worked my way to the middle. We do, because I have the extra soap in here today, this material is popping up very easily. So we're gonna go ahead and rinse that out and get some tack in here. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and finish. We'll take this back down again. Just kind of tucking that in for now. That way it doesn't stick to this rocker panel. All right, so this is looking really good, and all we have to do is trim around this. The mirror, basically covers majority of this flat part here. So you just cut somewhere in the middle and you'll be in great shape there. Let's get back over to the area behind the door handle. All right, let's see if this is just a little bit of buildup or if there actually is some moisture underneath the material there. Nope, it was just a little bit of buildup of water on top of the door that hadn't just ran off, basically. Yeah, we're good. Get a little tack in there. And we can finish wrapping this up. So do a little swipe there. Swipe the chomps. Swipe chomp. Chomp swipe? What do I usually call that? It's not chomp, it's a slide chomp there. That sounds right. Great. It's all looking really good. It's looking good around the handle. Just make sure everything is stuck down and no moisture is crept underneath those edges. This looks all really good. All right, we also want to double check and make sure that all this is staying down. There is, you can see just by the lighting that there is a little bit popping up right there. I'm going to go ahead and put some tack under that. Oop, it's attached to me. It's hanging on my tool belt. And I did do a ton of cleaning to make sure that we didn't get any debris coming down from underneath this during my pressure washing, but I also thought I was going to be able to remove it, so I didn't do as much, but I blew it out a lot with the slip solution. Because I wanted to be able to get right up to it, if not go underneath it, if I couldn't remove it. Okay. All right, well, that's the process of installing paint protection film on the door here of this, I don't know why I keep forgetting the name of it. I want to keep calling this thing Lotus Elise, but I know that it's an Alfa Romeo C4. So sorry about that. But that's the process of installing paint protection film on this. I probably will come back in the end here and show you how to trim these edges and then wrap them, because some of this stuff is going to be too much to wrap. Like right here, there's going to be way too much material left over to wrap, so we're going to have to get real close or do some relief cuts in order to get that to wrap around. And that's pretty much the most difficult one. And here there's going to be a little bit of tension because it's a recessed angle, so there's a lot of extra tension on those when you wrap them. Look at that, we've got a tiny little air pocket there. So I'm gonna just pull right back to that air pocket. And then let's get just a little bit of mist on there so we can slide real well on this. You can see there's some touch-up paint there. This car's got quite a few marks in it, so if you're seeing down here at all where there's all this white, it's from it being on the track where the rocks actually went through the old paint protection film. Although I'm not 100% certain that there was as much paint protection film on this as he's saying there was, or early enough anyway. This is destroyed and it has paint protection film on it, but they did not cover this area, which is very unfortunate because they just ruined this carbon fiber here. But this also has a lot of marks on it. Okay, we'll come back and do some trimming later. All right, so you can see there's not that much to wrap onto back here. Otherwise, you're gonna end up hitting this part or that recess, and then that's gonna be an issue because it's gonna leave air in there, and that could look bad. So we wanna make sure and only leave enough to make it close to that edge. We don't wanna overdo it. It'd be better to even underdo it a little bit. Or just trim it off right here at the edge and you'll be in great shape too. I mean, that wouldn't really be all that noticeable. That would probably be a good looking edge as well. So let's go ahead and get our little blade snapped off, get us a fresh blade, and we'll go ahead and trim out down this side. All right, so what I'm gonna do is that the window scraper comes up in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this off like right on the paint. Let's see, is that gonna be, I don't know. We'll just have to see how this works here. I'm kind of going to be getting in the way of the camera. All right, so I'm going to come across the top Also, if we tried to wrap this in, this is way too much material. Way too much material to try and tuck around. It's just gonna bunch up and then fold over on itself there. So we're gonna cut this off. We're gonna go just over this edge, and then we're gonna come out this way. Okay, and then let's get that off of there. Okay, great. Okay, and then let's work our way down here. Keeping in mind how much space we have to wrap around onto on the back. All right, so then at this point again, I'm also going to come back over to the body of the paint here, or the body of the vehicle, come all the way over, and then we're gonna cut on the, just like regular on the edge of the paint there. Okay, that looks great. Keep working our way down. All right, and then on this one, getting a little small right there. Okay. All right, then let's let that sit there for a moment. All right, so when this rolls over, this part should go down just fine. All of this, all the way back to here, will go down just fine. Where we're might run into some issues are gonna be like on these edges. Like this is gonna be really tight and might wanna pop up once it gets back around there. So we'll go ahead and put a little relief cut in it right there and then wrap it around. Now I'm not fully wrapping it around right now because I need to put my glove on for that and get a nice smooth edge back here. You can see it's still sticking up a bit. And also we're gonna need some heat. Now on this one, if you try to wrap that in, see how you're gonna get a bunch of extra bunched up material there together? You can handle that in a few ways. Check out my video on doing 6 different corners, because you could just do slits in it and fold it over. You could also maybe even just do one slit in it right there. I'm gonna opt to just go ahead and trim some of this off. So I'm gonna do, just as this is another one of the corners that's in that video. So I just went down and out towards me, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tear this off. And then we'll just tear it back out like that. Now that leaves us with a nice edge that we can roll towards the back, or underneath, whatever you want to call it. That way the material doesn't bunch up right there. Okay. Let's see, should we try pushing down some of this stuff up here? All right, and even though I am pushing this one all the way down, it's still going to need to be heated. So don't forget, you need to heat seal every edge every time. All right, let's get on down here. Let's see, how do we want to work this? It's kind of hard to get good angles on this. I guess we'll just put you around back, actually. No, that's not really going to help, is it? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing the bottom? Yeah, you can see the bottom. Let's get a little more light in here. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and keep trimming this around. I'm actually going to come up to the front now and come back towards the back. All right, so now that I've gotten far enough back here that it's going to be very easy for me to get my finger around to wrap it, let's go ahead and cut this and tear this off. All right, now we'll go ahead and do this little trim here. All right, hang on. That didn't go good. I mean, it went okay, just I wasn't cutting all the way through anymore. All right, and then I wanted to bring that all the way back up and around, but that's not going to work. So let's go back to doing this way. Let's see if I can do this left-handed at this funky angle. Okay. Where's my glove? All right, let's go ahead and trim around this. So just anywhere in between that and there will be good. Oh, let's see if I can do it with one hand all the way around. Oh, I think I'm gonna get it just for funsies. All right. There we go. Awesome. Could probably even get our wire back out, huh? Although I won't be cutting that zip tie until I'm ready to put the mirror back on. All right, let's take a look up here. Up here, I said. Come on now. Get on in here with me. All right, see this edge? That's gonna be fine to wrap onto just the side. We're gonna be good there. See how far this other person was off of the edge? That must have been a kit, I'm guessing. But we want to get, you know, real close. But then as we come down the front of the door, right here, if you open the door, oh, let's see, I'm messing everything up. Okay, so right up here, when you open the door, you can actually get to that area. So that's going to be very easy to heat seal. Now, once it gets to anywhere from like about here out, you can't get to this easily at all. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that we're not hanging over too much, that it's not going to stick down. We don't need it popping up later. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of just push it down, and then we're going to come back and trim it. I hate it when edges end like this. You know, it's like you got a thin edge there and a thin edge here. I hate that. It makes it so hard to get a hold of and get it off the car. You got to try to get your fingernail right in where you had that line going, and try to get it to tear. Okay, I think I might have just got it right there. Did I get it? Or is it tricking me? Here, you know what? Let's get some tweezers. Tweezers or not. There they go. And just take it nice and slow on this tear, because you don't want it to break, because then you're trying to get your line again. Broke loose. All right, terrific. So that'll just take a heat seal and boop, dun dun dun. Oh heck. Let's go ahead and put the mirror back on, huh? So you can see what that looks like. All right, so screwing this on takes, it's 3 bolts, and or screws, I guess. Maybe they're more like screws than bolts. And they are a Torx, and it is a T30. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is cut the zip tie. And you can see it lining up in those holes. Door's closing. Not great for the camera angles that I already did. All right, let's see what we can do here now. All right, so I can see I've got my screw holes lined up pretty good. And if you push up on this, it does have like a hook that hooks to up there, so you don't have to worry about the top falling down on you. And number 3. Number 3's hiding right here. So always start bolts and nuts, all that stuff. Start them with your fingers first. That way you know you're threaded correctly and you're not going to cross thread. All right. For this to go back together. Nice. And let's see, is it this one? Nope, that's upside down. But it is this one. All right. So like I said, these pieces broke off right here, and the super glue did not hold them, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull those little pieces out, super glue them back into place. I'm gonna put some epoxy on them. These pieces have to come right from Alfa Romeo, and you know, it's terrible to break things on customers' cars, but there's not much I could do with this one. He wanted the mirrors to come off for sure, so I let him know, you know, we're dealing with plastic from 2015, and you know, we don't know exactly what that's gonna do, but you know, they do latch in there pretty good, and so they just broke them right back off. So I'm gonna super glue, put some epoxy on the back side, and then hopefully that'll be enough to get them in there. All right, well that's it. That's popped back into place. While we're out here, all right, so here we're just gonna lay this down on. It's gonna just barely go underneath there, and you can kind of tell where it was lined up because it's, you know, dirtier on the very edge that was hidden. And then just push it down all the way back. And that's it. And then when you grab it to pull it off, you literally just put your finger in here and pull up on it, and it comes right out. And then when you get to the end, you just give it a little pull this way and boop, pops right out. Terrific. All right, well that's the process of installing paint protection film on this Alfa Romeo door. So we'll go ahead and I'll have to heat seal the edges, and then this is all finished up. I might do the door cup right here, or I might not. If I do it, I'll add it onto this video. If not, I didn't do it. It looks like a little bit of a disaster, and it's not all scratched up in there, so I don't know that it's really necessary with the way that you grab these handles. So we'll see. And then maybe I'll put something on the face of this one here. Anyway, that's it. I'm rambling. Appreciate you taking a look. If you found anything useful or helpful, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.